Good afternoon, everyone. So my name's Niall Assad. I'm the founder of fuelService. About 8 years ago now, I had an accident where I became paralysed, and it sort of changed my experience of how things happened on a day-to-day basis. So I learned to drive with hand controls, and it was great until the first time I came to need to put fuel in my car. I had an experience where I was just driving from stations to station, beeping and flashing the horn, not getting anyone to come and help, not knowing what to do, panicking, embarrassing myself by everyone staring when I'm beeping. So I decided that there was probably a better way of doing this. So we worked very closely with Shell in the UK, first of all, to build this proposition and this offering so that we could find a way that worked best for the drivers with disabilities, but also works very well for stations as well. So to make it as seamless and as easy to use as possible. So I'm going to run you through exactly what it is, how it works, some of the things that you need to know about, and some of the pieces of marketing that are going to be coming as well for you guys. And we'll just start quickly with a short animation that we use, which really shows the experience from start to finish. So that was just a quick animation of exactly what the process looks like, really, from how it was before for drivers with disabilities who would have to beep their horn or flash their lights to get attention for someone to come out, all the way through to a nice seamless experience with a mobile phone app. So the way that it works is that the users, they download the app and then they can go through the process of contacting you. The nice thing about it is that it's completely free of equipment at the sites. The only thing that it actually uses is the phone at your station. So that's the only thing that you need to do. And it becomes really easy for people to understand how to operate it and to use it. And it's really clear how people are getting the calls. So it really does improve the experience for customers with disabilities. So we have an average rating across all of the stations that this is at the moment, about 4.68 out of 5. And it's really well received by most people. And it's also a good way to build loyalty with the disabled community, but not only the disabled community, but friends and family of people with disabilities as well. If they see that your station is actually doing something to help, then they'll most likely mention it to people with disabilities that they know about as well. And lastly, one of the things is that we run this as a non-profit, and all the proceeds that we receive from Shell, who are paying for this for all of the dealers, go to research into finding a cure for paralysis. So how does it work? So it's really simple for the end user. So most of these slides are around what the driver with disabilities does. So first of all, they'll download and install the app, then open it up, register so we know who they are, put in which kind of fuel they're looking for, and then just click find station. So it'll use their location of their phone to find the closest stations to them. If they know they're traveling to a certain place, they can actually put in the location that they're looking for. Once they've done that, it'll show them a list of stations that are available at that moment, who can possibly help them. And it shows them either in a list or there's a view from a map if they prefer to use that. So once they've selected a station, the next thing that they do is they click the Ask Assistance button. So this will have all the details of your station that we've been provided by Shell, opening hours, services available, and all of those kind of things. So they just click the Ask for Assistance button. And then the very next thing that happens is that it makes contact with your station. So this is the first point of interaction from your point of view, is that the phone will ring at the station. And it'll ask with a very simple message: disabled driver request from Shell. Are you able to help a disabled driver within the next 30 minutes? Press 1 for yes or 2 for no. If you press 1, then we'll show them that the driver that yes, they can help, and then they can go to the station in confidence. And we always tell people, you know, it's better to do this before you go to the station, because if they're single-manned or it's a time of day when they've got less staff and they can't help, then you've not wasted your time in going to the station. It's also okay for stations, if they are single-man at the time, to decline, because obviously they can't go and help. And that's actually better for the disabled driver, because they've not wasted their time driving there to find out that someone can't help. And you don't really need to worry about it causing a bad impression, because the statistics that we have show that even if a station declines to a user, if it's their local station or the station that they know, very much the next time they always ask the same station again, because it only took them 30 seconds to find out whether they could get assistance or not. And if not, they'll ask another station and go to another station that time. But the next time they're going to go where they prefer to go. So they'll probably ask the same station again. Once they've got that message, then they drive to the station. When they get to the station, they click the I've arrived button, and it asks them to enter which pump number they're at. And then what happens is the phone will be automatically called at the station with an automated message that will say, the disabled driver has arrived, they're at pump number 5. Please enter how many minutes before you will be able to go out and help them. So you don't need to rush out immediately knowing that they're there. You know, you can enter a number of minutes from 1 to 9, and it'll tell the user exactly how long they have to wait. The average is probably around 2 minutes, which seems to be fairly common across most of the stations. But if in the situation where, you know, you need to take a little bit longer, you know, maybe 5 minutes before you're going to be able to go out, you've got a queue of people, then that's okay as well. And really it's okay, because as someone with a disability, I might be able to put fuel in myself. If I'd probably make a bad job of it, I'd probably spill it on myself and all across the forecourt, but I might be able to do it. But it would still take me 10 minutes to get my chair out of the car, get in it, then fill the car up, then get in the shop, come back, take the chair apart, get it back in the car, another 10 minutes. So it's probably going to be, you know, 30 minutes of minimum for me to go and fill the car up myself. So someone waiting 5 minutes, that's okay. And some people, they wouldn't be able to do it themselves in any way. So they're more than happy to wait to get good service. So once you've entered the number, we actually tell the user again through the app. So we've told them here that, yeah, the station knows you're here. They're going to be out to help in 2 minutes. And at that point, you know, it's probably what you guys have been doing with drivers with disabilities for years, when they beep their horn, flash their lights and so on, then someone goes out and fills the car up. At this point, you know that they're there. You can go out, fill the car up, take payment. And, you know, it's often at this point that they'll say, okay, well, when you come back with my change, can you bring me, you know, a loaf of bread, some milk, some chips, you know, whatever else it may be as well. So additional services that and purchases that they might want to make. And then lastly, the driver can provide feedback. And this is why I say, you know, we have average feedback of 4.68. And all this feedback is logged. It's privately viewable, so it's not publicly available for anyone to go and see. You'll be able to see all the data, and Sharon's team will have access to all of the information and requests, acceptances, declines, and all the feedback for you as well. And this is really good as well, because in a lot of situations things work very well, but in that situation where something doesn't work, if someone gave it a 1-star, for example, it would automatically open a support case in our system, and we would contact them and find out exactly what the problem was. So we'd be able to let you know, oh, there was a problem, and this was what happened, and enable you to help think about how you can fix the problem, and then we can feed that back to the customer. So in terms of promotion of fuelService, there's a couple of things that are going to happen. So as this rolls out across the US, we can't be putting out mass market publicity, because what happens, and we've seen this in other markets, is that people say, this is a great idea, I want this today, but I open the app and the nearest station to me is 1,000 miles away. I'm not driving 1,000 miles for fuel. So in the short term, we're working with charities and disability organisations in your localities to actually push the message out, independent living centres and so on, and social media in that area, to enable customers to find out about it. And in the longer term, once it's rolled out more across the US, there will be a much broader PR outreach with TV and radio and so on. Although there has been some TV coverage with different channels like Fox in Washington and so on a more localized basis as we move forward. So you'll be receiving some POP elements. So the most important one is the quick reference guide. So you'll get this quick reference guide. It shows the steps that I mentioned before, request assistance, what they need to press on the phone. It also includes the phone number that will be coming through. So you'll be able to maybe even put that into the phone book of the phone in the store, so you know that it's a disabled request when it comes through. Or it might have caller ID that says fuelService or disabled driver in there. But if you need to provide information to your site attendants, because this is the most important thing, that they know about this, and then they know how it works and what they can do, what they need to do. Training at the end of the day and making sure that they know about it is key to this being successful. The other piece of information are going to be, there's a pump decal for each of the pumps. And this is probably the best way of advertising the service to disabled drivers, so that they know about it, because they'll see this at the stations when they come, and they'll say, okay, instead of beeping the horn, this is what I need to do. And other people will be able to tell their disabled friends about this. There are some window posters as well, if you choose to put those inside the station window. And that's probably more for non-disabled people to be able to tell their disabled friends and family about it. And lastly, there's an in-store brochure. So there's going to be some brochures that are provided. And the thing about the brochures is that you'll be able to give them to your existing disabled customers when they come, so that they know about the new service, and they can learn how to use it for a better experience. Or people can, pick them up and take them and give them to their disabled friends and family. So in terms of success, what makes things successful, really? So it's really about the execution. So when someone requests, it's so important that when they answer the phone, if they can help, they press 1, of course, but if they can't help, that they press 2, because that lets us know that you can't help at that point, and we let the driver know. If someone doesn't press 2 because they can't help, and they just put the phone down thinking, okay, I can't help, I'll put the phone down, we don't know what the response was, or there was a mistake or something like that. So the driver can then ask the station again. So it's in their interest to press 2 if they can't help, because they're not going to get a second phone call from someone clicking retry. It's going to tell them that they can't help. In terms of delivering the assistance, obviously, in a timely manner that works for you guys to go out to them. As I mentioned before, a certain period of time is fine, because it's so much quicker for someone to provide assistance than someone to do it themselves, if that's possible. but the average is normally around 2 minutes or less for someone going out. Or as I mentioned before, we'll be able to monitor all the site level results through a reporting portal that Sharon's team will have access to. And if you need access or you want access to your individual station, then we can provide that as well. You just need to let us know. In terms of payment, this is going to be pretty much the same as what you're doing with your customers today when you're dealing with disabled drivers today, whether it's taking the cash, making sure that you're asking for the right amount of fuel that they want to put in before you actually start filling the tank up and all of those kind of things. And really, you know, it's making sure that, you know, that everyone's happy with the solution. So hopefully it should make life a lot easier for your stations, because they're not having to listen out for beeping horns, flashing lights. They're not having people turning up when you're single manned and they're not able to go and help them because someone's already asked before. But also, you know, it's making life a lot easier for people with disabilities. And we get great feedback from this because people really do appreciate the service, because it really enhances their life by giving them back their mobility and their freedom. So some of the key dates. So between the 31st of May and June the 4th, we'll be performing some test calls to the stations. So the test calls will be as if it's a real user. It'll let someone answer, press 1 or 2. If they press 1, then we'll let you know that actually it was only a test call. So you don't need to keep looking out of the window or thinking, you know, oh, someone's coming very soon. You'll know it was a test call, but it's just to make sure that the phone line works. And more importantly, that the station staff get used to it, are trained, and know how to respond to the system. On June the 8th, the PLP materials will be shipping to all the sites. Hopefully they're going to arrive by June the 10th for you to be able to put up. And then on June the 14th, we'll have done all the testing. We'll know that all the sites are working, and we'll be able to make the system alive for real customers to actually come and use. Okay, so just to move on to questions. So if anyone has any questions, then please ask, or ask in the chat window, whichever way you like, really.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, that's fine.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, the question is that the stations where we have only one cashier and the neighborhood is not great. So how we gonna handle on that location?
So what we find with lots of stations, and you can let us know which times you want to offer the service. So we find that in quite a few areas all around the world where there are security issues for the staff going out at certain hours of the day or something like that, the station may be open 24 hours a day, but you know, everything after in the hours of darkness happens through a window on the front, and you're not going to come out. Then you can let us know the hours that you would like to offer the service and the days, and we can update that in so that it'll only appear in the app at those periods of times. The same if you know that you're only going to be single manned after, you know, in the night hours or something like that, and you're never going to, even you might be 24 hours, you're never going to be able to offer the service. If you let us know, then we can change the operating hours. So you will never get a request in those times, and people will know not to ask you.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
thank you, Niall. So we have already worked with Niall to do that for you. So Rob and the area managers have decided that we are going to be live on this platform from 9 in the morning until 5 in the evening, 7 days a week. So you don't have to worry about the nighttime hours, and even still, if it's not really feasible for your cashier to go out at that moment when the customer calls, it's okay to press 2, right? It's totally perfectly fine.
Okay.
We feel that safety is most important, and that's why we are going that route of the lesser time.
And is there any time frame that the customer gonna request, and how much time he or she gonna give us? Or
so normally what will happen is they will ask when the phone call comes through, it'll say, are you able to help a disabled driver within the next 30 minutes? And the idea with the 30 minutes is it's something that the cashier can very quickly, work out. It's very easy to add 30 minutes to what time you are now, in the next half an hour, based on the clock, rather than saying, oh, in the next 15 minutes or 25 minutes or whatever. So they know it's going to happen within the next 30 minutes. Normally it'll happen faster than that because people won't be 30 minutes away when they're asking. But it gives them 30 minutes to get to the station, and it gives you 30 minutes to know that you're going to be available.
Okay, that's great.
Another question came in, Niall, where can we get this resource material to train our employees? So I can take that one. So Niall will be providing us this training session via a video link, and we will get that to you, to your area managers, to you, possibly out on our YouTube site, our REP YouTube site. So that will be available for you. And also when your POP arrives, you'll have the training document inside that.
Yeah, I mean, the training document is the most important thing that we've seen, is to make sure that everyone sees it, reads it, understands that this is going to happen. Because initially what we'll find is that when there's an automated call come through, people's immediate reaction is put the phone down, it's someone trying to tell me something. So if they just listen to the first couple of seconds and they know that maybe when automated messages are coming through, if it says disabled driver request to Michelle, they know it's a disabled driver request and they can listen to the rest of the message rather than someone trying to tell you, I don't know what they might be trying to tell you, and then insurance, have you been in a car crash, all of these different things, and then putting the phone down. But if they know and they've read the training guide, that's the most important thing.
Great. Any other questions? So I have a question for a fabulous prize. So you can put the answer in the chat and your store number 2. So I'm ready. Everybody ready? Oh, and one more question has come in. Let's take the one more question that has come in. If one employee is working, can we refuse the call?
Yes. So if you're not able to go and help, then it's fine to press 2, because that's part of the that's part of the regulations and the ADA compliance. That you're not expected to go and help if you've only got one person working. I mean, we do have some stations that are in really small locations with not a massive amount of traffic where the shop's not full and they'll lock the shop and they'll go out and they'll fill up and come back. But that's completely down to you, your choice and your location. It's better for you to say press 2 and say no if you can't help, than someone to come, find out they can't get assistance, and then leave disappointed because they'll never come back. But also, if you press 2, then they know about it and they can ask someone else. Whereas if you just put the phone down, then the person doesn't know what that really means. And when the phone call comes in, the ID that will be shown, the phone number, it's going to be on the POS quick reference guide. So I don't know that you can see on the screen. It's from 844-957-1100. That's the call number that will come in. With some, depends where you provide your telco services, it might show the caller name, and it'll either be fuelService or disabled driver or disabled, depending on which telco you have and where the caller ID is, and if they're linked through to the right system to display that as well. But we find that a lot of people, if there's a phone book on the phone at the station, you just put that number in, save it with a name, and then it'll automatically show the name from the phone book at the station on the phone when the call comes in.
Okay, so I have a question for a prize, and if you could just put the answer in the chat, that would be great. And the first correct answer that comes in, and I'm the final judge, sorry, but I'm going to be.
I'm watching too, Sharon. I'm your backup.
Thanks, Rob. So my question is, What is the most important first step with program execution of fuel service? The most important first step with execution. What do you think? Jacob, I like your answer. Oh. Okay, we have a winner. Oh, everyone's putting it in. This is great. And you all have great answers. And let me skip back a little bit. Mal, what store are you from, Mal? Type it in the chat or you can yell it out.
1814.
Thank you.
Yeah.
1814. First one in with picking up the phone. Very good. Please answer the phone when you see fuel service on the caller ID or that phone number. Very, very good. Thank you so much. All right. So did any other questions come in? Tell them how long you'll be. That's also a good answer. Train your people. You know, I love that answer. Training, all very important keys. But the most important thing I think is if you don't answer the phone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whitney got it too. Whitney Simpson got it. It's good.
Respect. A lot of people got, I love respect. Oh, install the application. Wakar. I love that answer. I think Wakar, I'm going to have to reach in deep into my prize bag and find you a prize because that was something that I wanted to mention earlier. You can, and I'd love it if you downloaded the app, even if you're never going to use it because you don't need it, you can still download it and you can see how the process works. We do have some locations in our area that are under a different wholesaler that are already on the program. So you can see their stations and you can even test out their job if you want to. You could ping that station and see what happens, right? See if you get a response. That's totally okay. And they know that we're probably going to do that. And they're happy with us doing that because it just keeps them on their toes. So please go ahead and download the app if you would. And that is the Fuel Service app, which you can find on your smartphone. You can see the logo there on the top of the training guide.
Hey, Sharon, I noticed another question came in before you asked yours and it populated back, but there was a question that says, let's say you tell someone that you'll be out in 5 minutes, but then you get busy. Is there a way to extend the time to notify them?
Unfortunately not. No, once you've made the commitment to them, then there's no way of you using the phone then to contact them back to let them know. So it's probably a good idea to,
but when you don't show up, they're probably going to call you and say, hey, what's up?
So actually, that's a really good point, Bob. What actually happens is if you don't come out within that time, and
yeah, they'll probably.
I'll let you into a secret. If you post in 5 minutes, it counts down slower than 5 minutes because we like to set we like to set them with a reasonable expectation so that you can over deliver on that, which makes them happier because they'll think, oh, he came out in 3 minutes. Well, actually, he probably only came out in 5 minutes, but it counted down slower. If they get to the end and the timer kicks out, then they can click remind station, so they can then ask you, ping you again and say, hey, I'm still sat here, no one's come out to me, so you'll get the same message again.
And also the good news is that Nile has modified the app just for us because one of your fellow retailers had a great idea about asking the customers to go to the closest pump. So that way the cashier is not walking across the parking lot. So on the app, it's going to ask the customer, please drive to the closest available pump. And most of the time it's right outside your door. So you could always just kind of like wave or say 1 more minute or whatever you might need to do if that's the case, if you see your customer sitting there.
Sal asked a really good question. Will a customer's name or info be shown so they can properly acknowledge the customer? I guess you kind of already addressed that, what will show up on the screen.
So when you get the phone call, it's going to tell you which pump number they're at. It's not going to tell you any more information about that customer, and that's from a privacy perspective as well, really. Then it makes it easier so that we don't all need to be worried about the new data laws that may come into place. So you'll be told the pump number that they're at. We used to do it where we would tell you the registration number of the car, but we changed that because we found that people can remember when it says, oh, pump number 5, so they've just got 5. But if it tells them, you know, like the registration number, they're not going to remember that in 3 minutes when they go outside. So it's a bit of a waste of time. So the pump number is the best way of doing it.
All right, Sharon, give away some more
All
gift
right.
cards.
So all the gift cards, what we're doing with gift cards is we are going to email you later today, but at the very latest tomorrow morning, right? I just have to see if Tabby is still around. We're going to email you if you won, and we'll give away several today. So look for an email from Tabby, and we will be posting all the results for all the area managers as well, so the area managers can follow up with you too. We're going to be sending you electronic gift cards, so you don't have to wait for anything to come in the mail. You'll have it right away, right? So that'll be great news. And I had one more thing, and it just slipped my mind now when, oh, I remember now. So I think it's excellent that we're all looking forward to helping a lot of customers through this program. And that's awesome. And everyone on the call has had some great questions, and I know you're really engaged, and I really appreciate that. I don't want you to think that this is going to be a gangbuster thing though, because with another wholesale in our area, PMG, they've been running this program for about 6 months now, and they average anywhere from 1 customer every 2 weeks to 3 customers a day. It really just depends on the area and the volume at your location. So don't worry, it's not going to be an insane amount of customers. So when you think of it that way, it makes it a little bit easier, because I too feel anxiety if, oh, I'm working alone and, you know, all these customers are coming and they're going to need me to run outside, and that's not going to be feasible for me to do. So don't want you to worry about it like that.
But if you have lines of customers, I'll be very, very happy.
Yes.
We could sell the gasoline. I would be very, very happy.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, the good news is that there's an advocate that Shell and Niall work with, and he's a disability advocate, and he helps Shell with this kind of stuff. And he is tied in with all the disability organizations in our area, and he is talking to all of them and letting them know that this is a service we're going to be offering. So we may see customers we've never seen before. So to Rob's point, let's get some volume out of it and some great customer experiences.
One more question. What about customers that don't need assistance but use the app anyway? So really, we've never really seen this happen. And the reason is, it's so, if you can fill your car up yourself, it's so much easier and faster to do it yourself. You know, this is for people who really need it and don't have any other option. So I'm not saying that there aren't people who are maybe very, very lazy who are masquerading and making this happen. And in that situation, I don't know whether laziness should be classified as a disability. But we've never really seen it. But if it did happen, and you knew it was happening, then you could let us know, and then we'll be able to contact the customer, let them know, you know, find out if there was any issue that they needed assistance with, and if they weren't disabled, then we can always stop them from using it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Melissa makes a great point on the chat. She says disabilities come in all shapes and sizes, and just because we can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. So true, so true. Excellent comment.